please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance.
Of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of Bowling Green City Council. Kay, would you please begin by calling the roll?
Osbacher.
Here.
Gordon.
Here.
Jeffers.
Here.
McCumber.
Here.
Roland.
Here.
Seeliger.
Here.
Zanfordino.
The minutes from the meeting that was held on November 6, 2017 were presented to council prior to this meeting. Are there any additions or amendments to these minutes? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. The minutes are approved as presented. Kay, do we have correspondence this evening?
The only thing that I have this evening is an application for a new Class D5I and D6 liquor permit for Ninja Hibachi Sushi Steakhouse located at 1616 East Wooster Street. Check of the records was requested and no detrimental information was noted. That's all I had.
Thank you, Kay.
Okay, I saw that was a new license. I'm just
Yeah.
curious, based on our, prior history with these things, that mean that's one of the licenses issued to Bowling Green that's currently not in use?
Well, I was just having a conversation with Mike Marsh about that, and we looked online, and a D6 and a D5I are both restaurant-type liquor licenses that meet certain requirements or criteria. And the criteria, if I remember correctly, is regarding seating and square footage and things like that, that they have to meet that criteria.
Mm-hmm.
So they are restaurant, they go with a restaurant versus like a bar or another type of.
Oh, okay. All right. I was just curious. Yeah, okay, I was just curious about that.
We had Prudy here, and she owned a restaurant, and she don't have.
Right. Or the seating.
Okay.
Thank you. We have no special recognitions this evening, so we'll move on to lobby visitation. At this point, we welcome anyone to address council on agenda items or other business to the city. Kay, is there anyone that has signed up for the meeting or for lobby this evening?
Yes, we have three individuals. The first would be Todd McGee or McGee. Okay.
We do ask those that are going to address council to please begin by approaching the microphone and stating your name and address for the record, please.
Can I say Best Western? Mm-hmm. Okay. I kind of live there. All right, my name is Todd McGee. I'm the general manager at the Best Western Falcon Plaza, and I'm also the chairman of the Convention and Visitors Bureau Board. Today, I would like to speak on behalf of our entire board. We would like to thank you all for your many years of support of the CVB. As you know, this year we are looking for an increase of 1% in the hotel motel tax and a 3-year contract. Working at a hotel, I hear guests say all the time, "Wow, Bowling Green is so different from when I was here last." It's true. In the last 5 years, there's been a lot of change. We have had so many new businesses open. BGSU is quickly expanding and upgrading. We find these changes to be really exciting. Many owners in town are investing money back into their properties and businesses because I feel they feel the same way. It's a good time to be in Bowling Green. With that said, we must stay competitive. Cities all over are building new sports complexes and event centers to attract tournaments and conventions because they bring a lot of revenue to their local economies. With the increase in funds, we will be able to have a larger outreach to find new tournaments, conventions, events, and tours. We will also be able to better support and build relationships with partners currently hosting their events in Bowling Green. Our goal is to continue growing Bowling Green tourism by taking our advertising efforts to the next level. We want to see visible results. Creating a community brand that represents our town is a huge step in that direction. Every business will be able to promote themselves through the brand to help drive revenue to Bowling Green. Take a second and imagine a brand that creates synergy between Bowling Green and BGSU. Imagine commercials and advertisements that promote that synergy through our local businesses and events around town and on campus. This is what we want to work towards. We at the CVB want to spend more time and resources promoting Bowling Green. We believe this is really one of the building blocks of a strong community. And with careful and strategic spending, our goal is to increase events and visitors to our town. This will help boost revenue to all our businesses and make Bowling Green a more appealing place to call home. In closing, we would like to also let you know that we do have the support of all the hotels here in Bowling Green for the 1% increase. And we hope we have all your support as well. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for me or the board?
And Todd, first of all, congratulations on all you're doing, and it's appreciated not only for the Convention and Visitors Bureau, but for Falcon Plaza. How will you measure the effectiveness of your additional marketing? And is it going to be measurable success?
You know, I think that's always a tough thing to measure, but you know, if we can see visible results, and that's why I wanted to put in here visible. Speaking of a commercial, just per se, you know, if we can shoot for that goal of like, hey, we have a TV commercial that is promoting Bowling Green, promoting our events, promoting BGSU all together, and people are seeing that, that's huge right there. And well as if we hit another, you know, working with BGSU, if we hit another giant event that comes to town, people are going to see that, and you guys are going to be like, wow, where did that come from? But you guys will know how CVB worked to help bring that to town. You know, the coordination between the hotels, the BGSU, all the business owners in town to get that event here, because we need everybody on board to do it.
Can you measure that you've now brought an event in? How do you measure its effectiveness for the community in units that are sold?
Yeah, I mean, that can. Is that possible?
Just
Yeah, go ahead.
just identify yourself.
Sure,
please.
Patrick Nelson, work alongside Todd. I serve as a co-chair, and I was a and I guess next year I'll be the chair again, the CVB. I think you measure it actually really easily. You measure it in the revenue. You measure it in the revenue line because every dollar is in there. So Todd can run comparables. Every hotel in town can run comparables. You know, day over day, month over month. How many rooms did we sell? What's the change in that? Every time you drive more dollars to the hotel, your rates per night go up, which drives the revenue up. That revenue is put back in anyway. As far as listings and groups and things of that nature, we put out a list of all the groups that are in summer and throughout the year. I think we just had 2 new conferences in January that Todd is going to host, and a few others. Some of the guests stay where the guests want to stay, right? If you have a Hilton points, you're going to go to Hilton. If you have Marriott points, you're going to go to Marriott. But you're going to see that reflection in that way as far as tangible dollars. And every dollar that goes in not only helps that 1%, it helps the 3% that already exists as well. So revenue would help the city as well. As far as how does that translate to businesses, I don't have the current sort of national standards. We belong to the Association of Conference Event Directors International through the BGSU, through my affiliation. And I believe it's somewhere in the $20 to $6 range per night as far as income that hotelier is going to spend either at the shops, out to eat dinner, something along those lines. So that is roughly the impact per bed night that you're going to see in your community as well. As far as any other points to mention, I came to Bowling Green about 5 years ago. We were able to open up an Office of Conference and Event Services to try to designate a single point of entry for guests to be welcome to the university and to the community. Over that time, which is now a little bit over 4 years, we've grown a pretty steady stream of income at the university. It was a little under 100,000 in year one. We just finished year 4 at about 640,000, and in year 5 here we're going to cross $1 million, and that's an annual gain, and it just happens over time. One of the things we were able to do this year, in addition, we lost the victory, obviously, which I think was a good thing. At least it's on the record that I said that. But we also then gained the Fairfield. In that exchange, we had just about 3 full quarters of revenue to the CVB that we planned for this year, so that helped generate a little bit more money in this current year. We were able to get Wendy out to a small meeting marketplace where you go out and get face-to-face meetings with associations and conferences. We sent a staff member alongside Wendy. We had 20, she had 25 private appointments, we had 25, we had 50 private appointments, we have 150 lists of people that we meet with. You've got to get out there, as Todd started with earlier. You've got to get to the associations and bring them. They're not going to find you flipping a magazine and decide to go to whoever has the prettiest ad. It's just not that way anymore. I mean, it's important to do those things as well, but you really got to get out there and do a lot of relational marketing. And I think, we've got I believe about a 20-member board.
15.
Okay, sorry, I over-exaggerated, about 15-member board, but across the various areas within the community, and together we make those decisions on where each dollar is going to be spent. Driving that city brand, in my time here as well, in that 5 years, I've also served on the governing board of the Four Corners Center, so working alongside the chamber, working alongside obviously the CVB, but also economic development and downtown Bowling Green. We've been trying to talk about this cohesive brand for quite some time, and we haven't been able to identify dollars at which we could do that. And we feel like we're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone, if you will, through this opportunity, because we'll be able to allocate the dollars to create that brand, and then we're able to start to build that, to advertise out, as well as get ourselves out there in front of more folks to help drive more people. And obviously, we all know that a tax is a tax. Most people don't even see it on your hotel bill, but we're already at near the very lowest side. And it's our guests that come to Bowling Green who are going to pay $1 extra roughly on a $100 hotel bill. That's the impact it's going to have. But overall, it's going to help us tremendously. And I hope you all will do it.
And we do have signatures of the owners of the hotel approving this.
All of the hotel owners in Bowling Green have approved this. And it's they're putting themselves on the line because they're the ones who have people at the front desk that are going to pay $1 more a night for 100. So they're putting themselves out there to help bowling. And that's why it's so important that we realize it's their money. They're giving back to the community through the CVB to bring more businesses to Bowling Green. They're doing what we want people to be. Business owners are giving up some money themselves to make us a better.
And it's going to be a better Bowling Green because you're going to increase the revenue. That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
That's the
nice
measurable,
things
and
Right.
that's,
I mean, our goal, just to go off of what Sandy just said, is we're the concierge. I mean, really, I feel that way of Bowling Green. They come to our hotel, never been to Bowling Green before. We're sending them out into the Bowling Green to, go to our shops, go downtown, go here, eat here, and that's where we're driving it. So the more people we can fill in our hotels, the more we can drive right downtown and right into the city. It's a proven thing when, just for example, Frickers, they ramp up when we have a baseball tournament in town. I mean, everybody, we get that business from there. Some of us, we just take it for granted. Yeah, it's baseball tournament weekend, it's crazy in town, but we lose that, and all of a sudden, what are we all going to do? So we have to keep driving that stuff to Bowling Green.
It sounds like one of the concepts is to get Wendy out and about to more meetings outside of the area. And that's a pretty big deal. We've done some of that, but that's one of the things you really hope to do more of with this. And so that's part of what you describe as branding. I guess I had in my head branding is like coming up with a clever slogan, but that's just a minor part of everything you're talking about.
Yeah, that's kind of the start, base.
branding is very, very detailed, very expensive. There'll be professionals do it.
Yeah, I would say to that too, that we go out, yes, for that exact reason, and certainly the more that we can get to and sometimes partner, that it just doubles our appointments. It makes our opportunities greater to get more, touch points and contacts. Meeting face to face is kind of speed dating for business, if you will. So yeah, it's doing a lot of that, a lot more social marketing. We don't do a ton of social multimedia marketing right now. It's mostly print and it's a very limited amount. So we really need to be able to drive that as well. But again, our whole board sits in on those decisions, and we put a base contract for how those dollars would be allocated in year one, and then we would just build off of that to drive as many visitors. But back to your point, to me, it's a pretty simple line. It's how many nights are we selling, because that's the measurable. And then, of course, what's the average cost per night? When your average nights go up, your average cost per night go up as well. And so that's going to help the revenue to the cities, in addition to helping the CVB be able to go out and help market our community.
We can track that based on average rent or average occupancy though.
Right.
As well.
Yeah.
So we can track it throughout the whole Bowling Green.
That'd be good.
And we have those numbers too, Scott. Yeah, for the last couple of years.
Very good.
Thank you all.
Thank
I
you.
have a question of you, Mr. President. I have members of the board that I was going to pass out.
Right before the vote? Would you like to see them now since we?
Sure, yeah, why don't you do that?
Todd McGee is currently the president, or the chair, and Todd just put $1 million in Best Western. Many of us had the wonderful opportunity of attending his ribbon cutting, and Best Western is very spiffy right now with its new renovations. And just to give you an example of what our hotels do, I mean, $1 million went easy into that building. Susan Hojanaki is with the Union Bank. She's the manager. Tom Baer, the owner of the Beachy Airport Shuttle, and someone who's been involved in hotels forever. Kristen Otley, Parks and Rec play a very important role in convention because athletics brings people into town. So the things that go on at Parks and Rec, both from the Department of Parks and Rec and other leisure time sports activities, lend themselves to conventions. Mary Hinkleman from downtown Bowling Green, who's doing a great job as part of it. Thanks. Dishman, who is with the Sentinel Tribune. He's their advertising person, and he's put on a lot of special events. One of them is her show, and then they have their food show and other really successful things going on. Steve Camp is director of BGSU Rec and Wellness. Very big role he plays. Erlene Kirkpatrick, we don't have to say how busy Erlene is with involvement in everything that goes on in Bowling Green. Kelly Kling is the marketing and events coordinator for the Wood County Historical Center, and that has brought a lot of visitors into our town, especially this past year. Todd Kurz, who is the store manager of Walmart, now involved with CVB. Tim Dunn is there really for youth baseball, and trying to get more baseball and league competition events to take place in Bowling Green. He is with Dunn's Funeral Home, but we're not using the funeral home to attract people to Bowling Green, I hope. Ainsley Rokowski is the manager of the Holiday Inn. Sean Cruza, owner of the Sunday Station, which will be open all winter long. Our town has a Sunday Station open all winter and all summer. He serves on the board. Patrick Nelson, who is director of Bowen Thompson Student Union, and myself. In the last couple years, this has really taken off. This board has really become deeply involved, and it's certainly been resolved by all of us on the board that we can't do with the limited money we have. Yes, we have one more new hotel. It means we have one hotel full of rooms we have to fill up. We seem to have no problems filling them on weekends, but they have to be filled on weekdays too. It takes weekday special event to get those hotels filled 7 days a week. And that's certainly where Patrick is, Andy, with the events too, which are midweek as well as weekend. So that's what I wanted to say. We'll be voting on it, and I have now said what I was going to say before the vote. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Erling Kilpatrick.
Thank you.
Eileen Kilpatrick, Bowling Green Chamber of Commerce. I just want to quickly echo what Patrick and Todd were saying. It truly is an exciting time for our community, and to be able to see the CVB go to the next level. It's really instrumental on if we want to be even better. So thank you for your consideration for this vote. Now, I am not the parade killer that some people have been saying. But I do want to say that truly the project team and the executive board of the chamber, this was a very difficult decision, but it certainly was meant for the well-being of all involved. And I just want to thank the city for all of your support, police, fire, as you're sitting back there, thank you. And of course, our safety administration overall. So we think about rescheduling, we think about a rain date, and then we think about how do we get such a large event to hold 2 dates, 6 marching bands, including BGSU, almost 93 units this year. How do you store the floats? How do you get people's hectic lives to hold 2 dates for a second potential date for a holiday parade? And it's not, well, let's just say the odds are not in our favor of having such a quality event. So I just hope people understand that we did not take this decision lightly, and we did feel with the rain, which, by the way, did come in about 45 minutes sooner than we had expected. And, we just really appreciate your support, and we look forward to next year. And we certainly want to thank all the units, all the marching bands who were geared up and ready to go until they got that phone call. So again, thank you to everyone and to the city especially for their support. Any questions?
Thank you for your work.
Well, it truly is a community event that we really love doing. And it's a lot of work, yes, by a lot of individuals, over 70 plus volunteers. So our hearts were sad. I mean, we were really broken that we had to make this decision. But again, if you can imagine, I don't know, 30 individuals, little ones, sitting on a float, drenched, waiting for the parade to start. Wood County Hospital alone was going to have 200 walkers with them. BGSU Marching Band, which is over 200 members, we couldn't ask them to stay in the rain and wait. So, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Erling.
That's all.
Good. Thank you. We move forward with our official reports. Mr. Mayor.
Mr. President, members of council, and all assembled, it's good to be with you all. And Erling, we tried to express our thoughts to you on Saturday. I said when I happened to wake up, would be one of those that woke up, as Nadine knows, very, very early and looking out, and I said, oh my gosh, I'm glad I don't have to make that call, but you did it very well and wisely. So we all were feeling for you, let's put it that way, in your board. So, but last Friday, several of us met with representatives from Oxford, Ohio, and Miami University, who were eager to learn more about the Not in Our Town movement in Bowling Green. And President Mazie and I were joined together with a number of others, but we had a very special luncheon get-together with the Mayor of Oxford, Ohio, Dr. Kate Rosamanier, who is also a professor of educational leadership at Miami University. And then there was one other representative there from Miami as well. But I want to thank Lori and Heather and Joe for your participation in arranging. You had, I know, a series of meetings throughout Friday there. I know they were productive. The mayor of Oxford was very pleased. And I think they went back home with a lot of good thoughts about Bowling Green and Bowling Green State University and some of the things we were doing together. I know President Mazie was very, very pleased as well. The annual holiday tree lighting ceremony on Friday evening at the library was hugely successful. Good weather, Earlene, there. Only if I could have rolled over on Saturday morning, but we featured 3 international students from BGSU as part of the university's International Week, a week that also included a naturalization ceremony on the campus. And I just want to thank Dr. Marthea Salazar Valentine, the Executive Director for International Programs and Partnerships at the university, for arranging for the students to participate in concert with Mary Hinkleman. All your good work there on Friday night. And Mary, as we all know, is the Managing Director of Downtown Bowling Green. But it was a wonderful evening of celebration. And I am especially thankful and grateful to Chief Sanderson in the back there because he really made it possible for the 3 students and myself to come in usual grand fashion there with the sirens going. And he even figured out a shortened route because last year, some of you will remember, when he hit he was driving, Dave Gherkin was driving this last Friday night, and he did a masterful job. But when the chief was driving and he hit the siren there a year ago, we saw cars scrambling in all directions and thinking that there was a major incident that we were having to deal with and so forth. But that all worked out very nicely. And I want to commend the electrical division, Brian O'Connell, because we could feel the sense of direct power when they turned the tree lights on, because in the past it was always a kind of a wink wink, flash the light, and someone in behind would make it all happen. But this way, when the 3 students, one from Austria, one from who studied in France, and another from Hong Kong, pushed down the lever there, and that boom, magic happened. And so it was a grand time for all. And as I've already acknowledged, the wise decision on Earlene's part and her board to cancel Saturday's parade, painful as it was, we especially appreciated the fact that Cindy, that we carried on with the moving forward with the. With Wendy, I should say, with the recognition of the 5 best Ohio hometowns by involving the editor and the staff of Ohio magazines. And that was a very nice event. And Wendy, I want to thank you for organizing. And thank you, Sandy Rowland, for attending. And it was wonderful to have Jim Vickers and his staff here with us, all on hand. And from all reports, they had a wonderful time during their very brief stay and return visit to Bowling Green. I would have to say, just on the heels of what we just heard from our Convention and Visitors Board, and I know Wendy would echo everything that they have had to say there in that this tribute by Ohio Magazine is another important dimension of our Welcome to BG initiative. And we've seen this initiative take place in so many different ways here in recent years, and we've seen it. It's a point of emphasis right now with the city's Human Relations Commission and working on. And Bruce, you're playing a leadership role in making this happen. And also, I should acknowledge that you were on hand to help with the international students there on Friday night as well. So you were welcoming in a very special kind of way for those students there. But this all kind of is mutually, we like to say, mutually reinforcing there when we continue to have these kinds of events and these activities. And folks cannot leave Bowling Green, the city of Bowling Green, or the university for that matter, without certainly feeling welcomed and appreciated. In my regular pre-council session meeting with President Osbacher and Municipal Administrator Treader, and we met last Thursday, and as we always do before a city council meeting, I proposed to them that we now move forward in keeping with prior discussions with a long overdue review of our city charter. The last charter review was conducted by a citizen-appointed study group in 2001. It is that's way too long. Too many years have passed by since we've done that. I would prefer to see a regular 10-year cycle. It is my hope to return to you very soon with recommendations for the appointment of a charter review study commission and a related timetable. Toward that end, Municipal Treasurer and others on the staff will be reviewing, once we get through the budget process here. I don't want to, Lori, she keeps reminding me, Mayor, we've got the budget, we've got to wrap up here. And it's easy for me to say, well, let's move on to the next thing here. No, we've got a massive budget to put together, and there's a lot of time and effort going into that whole process. But in any event, very soon, once we get through the budget, I will be recommending to you for your consideration and really share with you in advance in that a proposed process and structure as a basis for formulating some recommendations for your consideration and how this whole process might move forward. And it is my hope, and I'm going to speak a little bit out of turn here, but I'm like some of you have a special admiration for Dr. Shannon Orr at the university, professor of political science, and I'm hoping I have a call in for Shannon, and hoping that we can persuade that we might have some help from her sector there. And from some of the graduate students, possibly, to help in this overall process as we structure the charter review. And further, we will be conferring with a BGSU graduate and Ottawa, Ohio native, Dan Clayman. Some of you have had a chance to meet Dan. Dan's a very impressive person who's been serving as executive in residence this fall semester at BGSU with the Center for Community and Civic Engagement. Dan is the former national president of the ICMA, a group that Lori Treader is a member of. It's the International City County Managers Association, a very, very well-respected national group. And Dan is also the former city manager of Tallahassee, Florida, as well as Jacksonville, Florida, but he is a BGSU graduate, grew up, as I said, in Ottawa, Ohio. He's a well-respected national voice and leader among specialists in city government, and the National Association has embraced a model process for charter reviews. So we don't have to go about rediscovering the wheel. We've got our own special history in the past, plus we can take advantage of some of the things that have been done on a national basis as well. And Dan is now serving as a senior advisor to the ICMA, and he really began his career in city government in Dayton, Ohio, which, as some of you know, is a very unique form of city government. And he did that following the completion of his master's degree in governmental administration from the Fells Institute at the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. So some of us have met with Dan during his stay here. He will be returning to Florida, especially when the snow starts to fly very quick, like I suspect. But he indicated that he would maintain a continuing interest in some of the things we're doing, and that I'm hoping very much. It's presumptuous of me to state or to commit him to any time in that, but I know that given the kind of person he is and his interest in and his love for the university and the community, that we will be able to reach out to him for some technical advice and expertise as well. So I think that's all going to bode well for this entire process, which we hope, with your support and consideration, we'll be able to get underway early in 2018. So we'll be returning with some things that you might wish to take into consideration and start to help formulate some of your own thoughts about the process, the timetable, and the important thing in this, that it would be citizen driven and with citizen participation. And I think that's certainly been the case in the past. And I know some of you are more familiar with what has taken place in the past than I am, but it's always been always a healthy process, and it's good. And I say my only recommendation number one is let's do it every 10 years. I think that's kind of a national standard, and it's no one's fault that we haven't done it since 2001. It's just the way it is, and so I hope we can maybe set something else in motion here with a different type of time frame. So Mr. President, members of council, that concludes my report, unless you have some questions for me. Thank you very much.
Other questions for Mayor Edwards? Thank you, Mayor. I would just comment that we also, I believe, are looking very much forward to commencing the process of reviewing the charter. This is something that we've talked about for the last couple of years, and frankly, with everything that's been happening in town, we just haven't got to it. But I certainly am glad that this is going to be a priority for us beginning in 2018, and we'll very eagerly look forward to the information from you and Lori as it relates to the framework and getting this thing organized and kicked off.
And given all that's before you and certainly the administration here, I don't think 2018 is going to be any less demanding, given the what we know is coming down the pike here. In that, when we start to think about the whole East Worcester Street corridor project, the I-75 interchange, and all the implications for that, plus so many of the other projects, and the Worcester Green, you're going to be hearing more about that very soon. And already we haven't had any really heavy official ask and so forth, but it's amazing how many people already have volunteered to step forward on that whole process. And I'll be coming back to you very soon with some additional details in that regard. But Sharon, Hannah, and others have been involved with this process are working very hard. So there are a lot of good things going to be happening in 2018. So
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Municipal Administrator, Ms. Treader.
Good evening. As the mayor mentioned, we are working on a budget proposal for your review, and your book should be ready on Wednesday. So what we are asking is, if you are in town, if you can let Kay know if you would be able to stop by. It'd probably be in the afternoon. We could send you an email when they're ready. If you are available to stop by, that would really help us out. We're a little short-staffed Wednesday to run them around, but if need be, we could run them to your home if you want to tell us where we could place them. Again, Kay will organize that for us. We appreciate that, and Kay is a big help with the budget. Also want to mention that per previous schedule, just a reminder that the finance budget hearing is scheduled for Wednesday, November 29th, here in the council chamber at 5 p.m. And that completes my report this evening, except to say happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Are there questions for Lori? Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Planning Director, Ms. Saylor. Questions for Heather? Thank you. Parks and Recreation Director, Ms. Otley.
Sorry, Mayor. I think I hit you on the way by. I didn't mean to. Good evening. I didn't want to give Councilman Rowland a heart attack by going 2 weeks in a row with no report. So just want to mention and remind, and we'll have a press release out tomorrow. But our November Park Board meeting, I know it's confusing, will be held December 5th. Okay. So it's pushed back a week. We had a lot of people that were not going to be able to be there, and we do have some business that we need to attend to. So we're just going to move that to December 5th because Park Board then traditionally does not meet in December. So we're really not meeting in December. We're having a November meeting in December. So we're not having a December meeting. Is everybody thoroughly confused now? Okay. December 5th, don't show up next Tuesday. Just remember that if you were planning on coming. So after the budget meeting that Lori just mentioned, if you're quick, you can attend the All About Sushi class being put on by JJ Kawashima. She did this several years ago. It is a fundraiser for Simpson Garden Park, and she is doing that again. So it is on November 29th from 7 to 9. So the budget meeting starting at 5. Maybe you can be done. Go learn how to make sushi and have your dinner. So I'll pass those out to you. Other than that, we do have our traditional holiday programs going on, and it seems hard to believe, but it is the 21st annual Breakfast with Santa. And I say that's hard to believe because I brought that program here with me when I came here. So apparently I've been working here 21 years, which is amazing, especially for a military brat whose previous record of living somewhere was 8 years. So that is on December 9th, and there are a few spots left. So for those of you that have children or grandchildren 5 and under, get in on that because there's only a few spots left. Holiday Nature Crafts is the following Saturday, December 16th, and there are a few spots left in that as well. And then we have a brand new kind of series coming up. They're going to be all different, but we're having some family fun nights out at the community center. These will be free for families that have a pass to the community center. And never fear, if you don't have a pass, you can pay the daily admission and get one child in for free, or for slight additional charge, more children. Or you could buy a family pass to the community center and participate in all this fun. But this is a partnership with Bowling Green Christian Academy. They're providing the volunteers, and there'll be different themes. The first one is Friday, December 8th from 6:30 to 8:30, and is a winter family sports fun night with some games and contests and fun exercise. So, and there'll be a few more of those. And I don't have the themes. Ivan is busy working on those. So, and that is all I have. Except, as Lori said, I will also wish you a happy Thanksgiving, unless you have questions.
Questions for Kristen?
Thanks.
Thank you. City Attorney, Mr. Marsh. Questions for Mr. Marsh? Thank you. Utilities Director, Mr. O'Connell. Are there questions for Brian? Thank you. Public Works Director, Mr. Kraft.
The leaf collection started November 6th, and we drug ourselves through 4 and 3 on the quick drop that happened right after that, and then we're now currently in Ward 1. We gotta go through Ward 2. Hopefully starting tomorrow we'll get in Ward 2. Wednesday will be tough on leaf collection because Wednesday, if you recall, last several years we've been doing a double refuse collection. So Thursday's route will be collected on Wednesday this week. So we have message boards out to remind the folks on Thursday's route that we'll be doing refuse collection also on Wednesday this week, with Thursday being the holiday. So that's my report. There's a few more questions to me.
The paving projects got pretty well wrapped up. You had some good weather.
Yeah, we snuck it in there between the rain and some cold, and got church buttoned up. We still have a little bit of striping to do. We're finishing the manhole adjustments. Manville has a little bit of curb to fix. Troop, they're doing water line taps, and then get that hopefully paved yet. And North Grove and Evers pretty well buttoned up, so it's major transformation for some of those streets.
Yeah,
so
big improvements.
looks pretty good.
Yeah,
Yep.
it turned out really good.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks. Questions for Mr. Kraft? Thank you. That completes our official reports. Next on our agenda is the introduction of new legislation.
Mr. President,
Mr. McComber.
from the Finance Committee, I have an ordinance amending and adopting Section 33.37 of the codified ordinances of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio, regarding compensatory time for hourly employees. And I also have an ordinance authorizing the municipal administrator to sign an LPA agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation and to seek qualifications and/or advertise for bids and enter into a contract or contracts for design, engineering, right-of-way acquisition, construction, and other services relating to the resurfacing of Manville Avenue.
Thank you, Bob. Do we have any council committee reports this evening? I would just mention very briefly, last Monday, council did have a joint work session with the Board of Public Utilities to review the 2018 municipal utility budget. As always, very well-prepared budget presentation by Mr. O'Connell and his staff. I believe that it is the intent for Mr. O'Connell to present that to the board for their approval next Monday on the 25th? 7th, I'm sorry, yeah, I lost track of the date, yeah. So that will be pending before the Board of Public Utilities. I would just say that my general impression is that those various funds continue to perform generally along normal trends. And I think that one of the highlights of the budget this year is that there will be continued reinvestment in our infrastructure. I think that that's one of the most important things that our municipal utility has been able to do, is to continue to invest in the infrastructure, not only at our treatment plants, but also out in our neighborhoods. And we've seen significant investment this past year, and I am pleased to say that there will be continued investment in basically all of that infrastructure in 2018. So while there are some rate pressures that are starting to expose themselves in the various funds, primarily water and sewer, I believe the board has a good handle on those pressures and what those trends are going to be, and I think that will be an emerging trend as we begin 2018. So I do know that all council members did receive a copy of that budget. Some were unable to attend the hearing. I would highly encourage, if you had any questions about any of the provisions of that budget, to please ask Mr. O'Connell. I'm sure that he would be happy to answer any questions that you had. So thank you, Brian, for that presentation. Are there additional council committee reports? We move on to the reading of legislation.
Legislation for first reading. Ordinance number 8643 for first reading. Ordinance amending and adopting section 33.37 of the codified ordinances of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio regarding compensatory time for hourly employees. Ordinance number 8644 for first reading. Ordinance authorizing the municipal administrator to sign an LPA agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation and to seek qualifications and/or advertise for bids and enter into a contract or contracts for design, engineering, right-of-way acquisition, construction, and other services relating to the resurfacing of Manville Avenue. Legislation for second reading. Resolution number 3683 for second reading. Resolution authorizing the municipal administrator to enter into a renewal of the agreement with the Wood County Public Defender. Resolution number 3684 for second reading. Resolution adopting the Bowling Green Fire Division 5-year strategic plan. Ordinance number 8642 for second reading. Ordinance certifying unpaid cost of weed mowing to the county auditor for placement on the tax duplicate. Legislation for third reading. Ordinance number 8633 for third reading. Ordinance amending and adopting section 33.04 of the codified ordinances of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio relative to pay scales for seasonal employees.
Mr. President,
Mr. McComber,
move to adopt ordinance 8633.
Second?
it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Kay, would you please call the roll?
Gordon,
Yes.
Jeffers,
Yes.
McCumber,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes.
Seeliger,
Yes.
Osbacher.
Yes. The motion passes. Ordinance 8633 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8634 for third reading. Ordinance authorizing the municipal administrator to enter into a contract with the Bowling Green Convention and Visitors Bureau for the promotion and publicizing of the City of Bowling Green, Ohio, to bring the patronage and business of cultural, educational, religious, professional, and sports organizations into the city for the benefit of the citizens of the city and the business community.
Mr. President,
Mr. McComber,
move to adopt ordinance 8634.
Second?
it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I was going to say a few words in support of this. I did pretty much say, what was said by Patrick and Todd previously, and my chiming in by letting you know who the board members are. I pretty much said what I wanted to say. This money is actually coming from tax that will only be paid by visitors who are paying for hotel rooms. Therefore, it only affects the hotel owners by putting themselves by having to charge more, but giving the money back to the visitors and the Convention and Visitors Bureau. I know there has been some talks about using this money for something else in the general fund. The money that will be accrued is probably going to be about $75,000. That's something the Convention and Visitors Bureau needs in order to help us grow, to be all we can be. So I am asking that you do support this and asking for your.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Well, I just wanted to say a couple of words. I plan to vote for this ordinance. I do have some qualms about it. I know that we all heard from one of our constituents, I believe, who was adamantly opposed. But Mr. Zanfordino, who's ill tonight, had also expressed some misgivings about the ordinance. And I think there's a not unreasonable argument to be made along those lines in terms of the hotel motel tax has been shared between the Convention and Visitors Bureau and the general fund up till now, and this additional amount will go entirely to the CVB. So that's a change in the practices to how that tax has been treated, and that gives me some concern. And also, given the rates of the general fund in recent years, what we were doing is, if we were to follow the same precedent that had been followed in the past, we're foregoing an opportunity to make a relatively small increase in the general fund. And that gives me some concern also. But I do find that to be outweighed by the factors for going along with this proposal, which, as Sandy mentioned, are that the tax is not paid by Bowling Green residents. Secondly, that all the motel owners are in favor of the increase in the tax. This was something that was considered a few years ago, and the motel owners weren't in favor of the increase at all, so that's a different position. And I understand that their support is dependent on it going entirely to the CVB. And also, I would differentiate between foregoing an opportunity to increase monies in the general fund versus taking money away from the general fund. Doing this will not take any money away from the general fund that the general fund is already receiving. And in fact, it was pointed out, it could even result in a little bit of an increase to the general fund if we're successful in this branding operation and able to get more people to stay in Bowling Green more nights. Well, it will benefit the general fund as well. So I think all of those things outweigh the qualms on the other side. So I just wanted to note that it's not a completely one-sided argument, but I do think the better argument is or the better position is to vote in favor of this change, and I will be doing so in a minute here.
Thank you, Bob.
Just add a little bit there. The more I understand our local tax and spending situation, the more complex I realize it is, how convoluted the rationale for various sources of income is. And so I don't even try to figure that out anymore. I don't have a logical framework in my head of how it all fits. And that's not a criticism. That's just over history. This is over time. This is the way things happen. And so that's fine. And so in this case, I like to think of this, and you made good nuanced comments, but I like to think of this as an opportunity to just invest. I think the hotel motel owners see it that way. And I think they're very serious about taking their game to the next level. So as we think about this as an investment, we might think about using that word in other tax and spending situations.
Thank you. Okay, would you please call the roll?
Jeffers?
Yes.
McComber?
Yes.
Roland?
Yes.
Seeliger?
Yes.
Osbacher?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
The motion passes. Ordinance 8634 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8635 for third reading, ordinance amending and adopting section 101.01 and 101.03 of the codified ordinances of the city of Bowling Green, Ohio regarding the hotel motel tax.
Mr. President,
Mr. McComber,
adopt ordinance 8635.
I second.
moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, would you please call the roll?
McComber?
Yes.
Roland?
Yes.
Seeliger?
Yes.
Osbacher?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Jeffers?
Yes.
The motion passes. Ordinance 8635 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8637 for third reading, ordinance amending the zoning district map of the city of Bowling Green, Ohio for 0.4683 acres of land located at the southwest corner of Clough Street and Manville Avenue from S3 planned institutional to R2 single-family residential zoning as requested by Habitat for Humanity of Wood County.
Mr. President,
Mr. Jeffers,
I move that we adopt ordinance 8637.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Just point out that these are 3 parcels that will be used for single-family housing, and just very excited that it's going through Habitat for Humanity. And one main reason is how well I know Mark works with families and your whole organization, and you don't just cut people loose and salute and leave. You're just involved in deep ways, and I think the families that eventually move in there will be a boon to the neighborhood, so we look forward to that.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I also want to say I look forward to families moving in that part of town, and I have all the faith that Habitat for Humanity is going to build a very delightful looking house or homes. And I'm very, very happy that our community has cooperated with Habitat for Humanity in making this venture a possibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, would you please call the roll?
Roland,
Yes.
Seeliger,
Yes.
Osbacher,
Yes.
Gordon,
Yes.
Jeffers.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
The motion passes. Ordinance 8637 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8638 for third reading, ordinance authorizing the utilities director to advertise for bids and enter into a contract or contracts for supplying annual inventory requirements, underground and overhead lines insurance, sale of scrap materials, and participation in the AMP Joint Purchasing Program in 2018.
I move to adopt ordinance 8638.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, would you please call the roll?
Seeliger,
Yes.
Osbacher,
Yes.
Gordon,
Yes.
Jeffers.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Roland.
Yes.
The motion passes. Ordinance 8638 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8639 for third reading. Ordinance authorizing the utilities director to enter into a contract or contracts for the removal of the multi-tech treatment system and to upgrade the lime softening transfer pumps at the water treatment plant.
I move to adopt ordinance 8639.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, would you please call the roll?
Osbacher.
Yes.
Gordon.
Yes.
Jeffers.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Roland.
Yes.
Seeliger.
Yes.
The motion passes. Ordinance 8639 is adopted.
Ordinance number 8640 for third reading. Ordinance authorizing the utilities director to execute an agreement or agreements for the installation and maintenance of a wildlife habitat restoration area at 16520 Carter Road.
I move to adopt ordinance 8640.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, would you please call the roll?
Gordon,
Yes.
Jeffers.
Yes.
McCumber,
Yes.
Roland,
Yes.
Seeliger,
Yes.
Osbacher.
Yes. The motion passes. Ordinance 8640 is adopted. That completes the items on our agenda this evening. I would like to make a brief announcement about upcoming meetings as we enter the holiday season and the end of the year, just to clarify that we will depart a little bit from our normal schedule. Our next meeting will be on December 4th, and then we will then delay our second meeting until December, until the 28th. That basically is somewhat become a tradition, allows us to kind of bring all of the end of year business to an end and get it done quite near the end of the year so that we can wrap up books. And then moving into January, due to the lateness of the meeting on December 28th, we will cancel our first regularly scheduled meeting in January, which will then mean that our first official meeting in January will be on Tuesday, January 16th. That's a Tuesday as opposed to a Monday, because Monday is Martin Luther King holiday. So, okay, I think I got all that right, and I'm sure it will be well reported. So we'll meet on December 4th, the 28th, and again on January 16th. So that concludes the items on our agenda. Is there a motion to excuse John Danfordino this evening?
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Mr. Zanfordino is excused. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved. Second?
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I agree with what